For more on this, let's bring in retired FBI intelligence manager and retired U.S. Air Force Brigadier General Chris Eddy, along with former senior DHS advisor under the Alejandro Mayorkas administration, and retired U.S. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Berney Flowers. It's a pleasure to have you both. Berney, I'll start with you here. I do want to touch on Gavin Newsom and this cause of championing demasking ICE agents and what the fixation is with that, because I really don't think it's a big deal. Can you talk about that?
I think, first of all, Bob and Katrina, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to see you guys. As for Gavin Newsom, anything that comes out of his mouth, he's lying. The issue today is he's just totally political. And, he should be doing his job. He is the governor of the largest state by population-wise in the United States. And, maybe New York is bigger. But the issue today is that he's not helping protect American citizens. And he should be ashamed of himself for his political rhetoric. Those ICE agents are trying to do their job. They're protecting American citizens, which is something that he should be doing.
General, what do you make of President Trump's memo targeting political violence, really where it counts, which is the bottom line in terms of the funding?
For sure. And for this to be successful, it has to be a whole of government approach. The federal government has had success against decentralized organizations in the past. The environmental extremists are very similar structure-wise, where it's a lot of actors going on their own. So the government, the best way to get in, and always the hardest, is to try to find informants to infiltrate the groups, to see how they're communicating, and then be able to get into their encrypted communications to figure out where the network is. And then obviously the financial one, if you're able to crack into the crowdsourcing funding to track that whole network down.
Yeah, Berney, your comments on investigating this and the need for it.
It's interesting because I spent a lot of time in the three-letter community, and we have marvelous capabilities. But we have to balance those capabilities with civil liberties. And it's going to be a tough road to hoe because, the ACLU and the Democrats are all going to say that we are violating civil rights. But I think keeping Americans safe and keeping those police officers and law enforcement agents might just be more important. They're trying to do their job, and they're trying to keep us from domestic problems that we just will have a hard time stopping. And a lot of this stuff is, couched under national security because a lot of this stuff is being pushed by entities that probably don't mean us well and that are probably outside the borders of the United States. So this is a national security agency, or better, a national security issue that the way I see it. It
kind of seemed like a little militia almost, especially when you put on images like that on the screen.
Yeah, dangerous. General, do you think we hear so much of the phrase, the new popular phrase seems to be, we need to tone down the rhetoric. And as much as that is being said, I haven't seen that happen yet. Do you think any of the president's actions here will help that happen?
Well, I don't know about the other side if they're going to be toning down the rhetoric at all. But if we're able to take the violent criminals off the street, that will certainly help. And we have to target the most violent ones first to make sure that we're on, obviously, the right side of the law, as my colleague said. So it's incumbent on both sides, obviously, to turn down the temperature. But right now, with the rise in left-wing violence, it's more incumbent on one side than the other. And we need to target the most violent criminals first through those investigative means that I mentioned earlier.
Okay, got to leave it there. General, Colonel, it was a pleasure. Have a great weekend.
Thanks.